Hey guys, I'm finally back. It's been, I think, a good 2 months. A good 2 months since I told you guys that in a week there would be a special video out. As you know, that did not exactly happen, and it's sort of on hiatus now. Maybe one of these days I'll finish it. Probably not in the near future though. But even though I knew that I probably wasn't going to finish that soon, I was planning on posting more speed paints, but I just ended up not really finishing anything. Honestly, this is the next piece I finished after the one that you guys saw previously. I just haven't really been finishing much of anything recently. I'm not sure why. I don't have art block or anything. This is just the next piece I ended up finishing. I don't know, I started multiple drawings, but all of them I just wasn't invested enough in the idea to actually finish the drawing. But I finished this one, that's something. I've been meaning to redesign this character for a long while. She's not quite as old as the previous character you saw, Sai, but she's definitely one of the earlier OCs that I created, so I thought it'd be nice to go back and redesign her. Her design looked nothing like this previously. It was pretty much completely scrapped. I'd show you her old design if it didn't make me cringe. So for this speed paint, I thought it would just be fun to sort of go over my process when I was redesigning her and share some of my thoughts about it. This is not going to be advice, mostly because I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll sort of just talk about what I did in response to other people's advice that I've seen. The two things that I really wanted to focus on in her character design was her moth theme and making her look friendly yet slightly unnerving. I tried to do this by making her color scheme and her just general features really contrast with each other. She has really round and generally friendly looking features, but on top of that I gave her a really dark color palette to sort of get that contrast that I was looking for. I think in the end this ended up being a pretty good compromise between the two. When I was sketching this out, I tried to really focus in on her shape language, so when I was drawing her big floofy hair, I made it really circular to sort of make her look more friendly. Early on, when I was just sketching out rough ideas for her, I made her hair a lot smaller and sort of less circular, but when I started to focus on the shape language, I ended up changing it so it'd be like a big circle around her head to try and make her look even friendlier because of the general rules of shape language, and I'm much happier with her having just a giant mane of hair instead of what you can see on screen now. I did a similar thing with her facial features by giving her just really large circular eyes. I had a hard time deciding if I wanted her to have a nose or not, but in the end I got rid of it to sort of make her look more bug-like to go with her moth theme. For her ears, or not ears, moth antennae things, later on, in these ones they're more triangular I think, but later on I make them more look like half circles to push that friendly looking shape language even further. Also, to try to make her look more friendly besides the shape language, I gave her a big fluffy heart around her chest. It should look heart-shaped, hopefully it doesn't just look like a big ball of fluff. It was also there to make her look more like a moth, because before I had it, she really wasn't looking like a moth except for her little antenna things. And I think that ended up looking pretty good because it both pushes that friendly look I wanted and makes her look a bit more moth-like. It's a little bit hard to see, but I also put two hearts on the side of her shorts. I thought it was weird if I only had the heart shape on her chest fluff, so I sort of tried to incorporate it in a few other places around her design. At first I was having trouble making her look small. Like, I imagine her being pretty short, but I had a hard time like expressing that with proportions, like especially when she's not standing next to another character. I hope that she reads as short even when she's standing by herself, but I'm not entirely sure how well that reads. Along with that, I also had a pretty hard time getting her body shape right in general. I have a much easier time drawing more thin, sticky kind of characters, but I wanted her to be like really round and soft looking, so I made her a little more pudgy, and I hope that reads well. I'm not that great at proportions. I tried to give her really small feet to sort of express that. You can't really see her hands very well, but I'd imagine that they'd be on the smaller side too. I think it looks alright in the end, but I might need to play around with it a bit more. To make her look more moth-like, I sort of just stuck some moth-like features around her design. Of course, the little moth-like antenna are for that, and also her little cape thing. Those aren't supposed to be wings, she can't fly. They're just like a little cape she's wearing. I definitely need to tinker around with that to make the design look a little bit more practical, but that's just supposed to be something she's wearing. And along with the chest fluff to make her look a bit more bug-like. Same with her mouth. I ended up giving her little fangs on her mouth to try and make her look more bug-like. I'm not entirely sure if that reads well, but I think it looks a little bit better and more unique than her just having a normal mouth, especially since her nose is missing, so I needed some more defined features to put on her face. I also gave her some pretty large eyelashes. They're supposed to somewhat resemble the like wings of a moth. I'm not entirely sure how that reads either, but I think it looks pretty cute. I think even her color palette makes her look a bit more nocturnal like moths, so I think that helps also a little bit. I probably need to add some more moth-like elements. She isn't supposed to like straight up be a moth, but like it's supposed to be definitely visible in her design, so I might need to add a little bit more. I think that in some of the drawings her antenna look too rabbit-like. I think that in the main center drawing, the full body drawing of her antenna look more moth-like, which will probably be what I'll be going for if I ever draw her more down the line. Designing her outfit was also pretty fun. I sort of just generally tried to make it go with her very energetic sort of personality, so I gave her shorts so she could run around. And I also ended up not giving her any shoes. I really couldn't figure out a good way to get shoes to work. I tried boots once and then I just didn't like the look of that. But honestly, she seems like the kind of person who would just run around shoeless, so... After I'd finished all my rough designing and colored sketches, I of course moved on to line art and color, which was pretty fun, just going back over it. I didn't change too much in the line art stage. I gave her lighter streaks in her antenna to make them look a bit more bug-like instead of just like random things sticking out of her head, and I think that ended up looking pretty good. I gave her little hearts in her eyes again to make sure the hearts weren't only like on her chest fluff and on her shorts. I'm not sure how much I like that or how much it lends making her look like a bug, but we'll see what happens. After that, I was pretty much completely done designing her, so I just added her name in the corner, wrote down some of her character traits, and with that, this speed paint is pretty much over. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like my stuff, be sure to subscribe. I'm getting close to my new subscriber goal of 2 subscribers, so be sure to do that. I hope you all have a lovely day. Goodbye!